Okay, here we are in Avatar on what I would consider probably the most budget AMD card you'd want to potentially jump into this, at least for this generation. This is the RX 7600, and we're going to show off some of the new Fidelity FX3 because we can. So I'm on a 4K screen here, and I want to do this on purpose because I want to see how much that can actually push us there. So it's like, actually the lows and stuff are fine, but the actual raw FPS is just down. It's just a 7600X, right? The VRAM's doing good. We have 6.3. That's impressive, actually. So gigantic jump in performance there, up to 45, which is balanced FSR. And I consider, depending on the game, once you get to 45, I consider it playable. 30 is, probably the absolute baseline for console quality. At 45, it becomes much more playable. It doesn't give me motion sickness or anything, so. Look at that massive jump in performance. 4K, ultra performance, FSR 3 on medium. And FSR 3 looks like it's actually quite impressive here because I'm not getting, normally even on performance, you're going to get all kinds of weird shimmering up in the foliage, especially when it's moving. I'm seeing none of that here. This is why I'm recording this externally rather than using game capture this time, because I want you guys to see what I see because we're using a new technology here. Good performance, and there's no shimmering. Yeah, so this is now high with the Ultra Performance FSR 3. Kind of looks the same. Probably just not put it on high, probably just put it on medium, because we just lost FPS for like no reason. But it's running well. Maybe in some areas it'll see now it's dropping. So I think with this 4K, I'd probably leave it on medium. You know, we're just using a 7600 here. This is not a massively powerful card. Same settings, we're on high. Let's see what we can get here. Just 1440p high native. No scaling or anything like that. Again, you're getting that kind of balanced mode, 45-ish FPS. The lows are good, that's what's key. If the lows were tanking, I would consider it unplayable. But you know, this is going to give you a console-like experience at 1440p on medium with no scaling. On high, right now we're up to actually pretty. This is very playable now. Medium, just native 1440p. It's actually quite good. But let's turn on some FSR here now. So we'll just skip right over quality and see how it goes. There you go. There's your 60. 1440p with just balanced FSR 3. And again, look, you can see there's no like jankies. FSR 3 is really improving that kind of artifacting and shimmering that I would normally see. Like that foliage back there, those pine trees right back here, those would normally be like starting to get shimmers. But it looks great. Again, this is just an early area, but I think it's fairly demanding. With earlier iterations of FSR 1 especially, but even FSR 2.2, as you increase FSR, it starts to look like soft and ugly. This still looks pretty good here. Yeah, that's pretty sharp actually. Yeah, visually that looks basically like it's not on, and I'm not seeing artifacting, so at 1440p at least, performance is still doing quite well. And we're on high now. The game would run without FSR, but it's really a solid addition here. It's making it much more playable, and it still looks quite good. We're still at 1440p, so it still might look okay. I'm really going to try to... It's a little bit softer now, but it still looks good, like off in the back. See those pine trees there that I was pointing at there? A little bit softer, but this is a fairly fast-paced game, and I think you're going to be fine here. It still looks amazing. Remember, I'm on a 4K screen here, so this is not a native resolution for this screen. So it's going to inherently look worse to me than if you just use a 1440p screen. So this FSR is actually, even on high levels, ultra performance, looks like it's really making a big difference here. So we'll start with no FSR at 1080p. So high 1080p, no scaling. It's going to give you 60. You can see how large the font is on the screen now. Yeah, I mean, these games are really relying on FSR and XeSS and DLSS. But fortunately, those technologies are getting much better, right? So you're able to use them almost freely without, making your game look like crap. At least little bits of it. FSR 3 looks like it's quite a big improvement here. I'm going to turn it on a little bit here. We're only at 1080p here, so this is where you might start to see some like blurring. So we'll go with that there. And we'll try quality. That's probably as high as I'd want to go with FSR at 1080p. Otherwise it's going to look kind of bad, I think. Man, it still looks good. Look at that. There's no shimmering. Even at 1080p. Normally with 1080p, when you turn on a lot of FSR, it starts to look like crap. But you can see here that, the FSR it's definitely working better. Like objectively, it's working better. There's some dithering there. Yeah, so I mean, I think the conclusion is pretty clear here. This 7600X is actually able to really just absolutely handle this game now that we have FSR 3, I think. Without it, I mean, you can get by, I guess, without it at some different resolutions and some different levels of graphics. But adding some FSR 3 here is actually fairly outstanding, and I think the performance was really rock solid here.